Hi there. This is Ray with God's Creations, of photographs of some of the plants in my garden. What you're looking at here is a Firespike plant. It's in the acanthus family, native to Mexico and Central America. This is the first day of November that I'm filming, and this does not bloom until the fall. It's been blooming several weeks now, and it is a perennial, but it acts as an annual here because as soon as frost comes, these leaves will die and it will die back to the ground. But as soon as spring comes, it's a very fast grower. In fact, this plant that I'm showing you in the maybe July, maybe early August, it was so high, it was this high, and we'd had one of those winds come through, and a lot of this top had fallen over toward the camera here, and I just had to I went in with my knife and cut it all off, and so it's grown back maybe 2 foot and put on all the blooms since I cut it off, and I knew it would do that, so I was not worried about cutting it off in there. It's easy to root. The easiest way, of course, is to go down and take you a piece of the rootstock from the bottom, and if you want to share it with someone else. These red spikes attract butterflies, hummers, and other pollinators. And I have it in quite a number of places throughout my garden here. While I'm here, I want to show you a couple of other flowers that I may and may not show you later on. Behind this is one of the gingers. I'm going to show you another ginger in a few moments, but as you can see as I come closer to this is a yellow ginger. The ginger family is also a very large family of plants. The one that we eat is in the same family. They're just different varieties of the same thing. This is yellow, and way back here toward the window is a white one, and there are no blooms above that we can see from that one, but I have the white one and this yellow one, and I have also a red one that does not bloom very well for me here, but I still have it. I'm going to move quite rapidly to another place in the garden because I want to show you another flower here that I want to include with these, and it's another ginger, but also one that is a Mexican sage. So I'm going to turn and walk quite rapidly through the garden until I get over to this place where we're going to here. It's late afternoon, and you can see the sun coming through the trees, and here in October, November the 1st, it will be it will be dark, and since we changed the times here, and I'm coming up on the end of my daylily beds, and there's a number of shrubs and blooming flowers in here, and this is the one I want to show you now. This is a Mexican sage, Salvia leucanthia. This purple flower also does not bloom until the fall. If you see, we've had a little bit of cool weather today. Some of the blooms have closed because of the cool weather. It's a perennial, and it, like so many of the perennials here in this area, it will die back with a harsh winter, with the frost and cold. I've had this plant for a number of years. In fact, I kept it in a pot for a number of years because I was afraid of losing it. Then I realized that if I planted it in the yard, it was going to die back to the ground anyway, and so it does quite well here under a live oak. It gets plenty of water because it's irrigated about 2 or 3 times a week at the end of my daily beds. So it blooms profusely here for me, and it's in the salvia sage family, and that is a large family of plants as well. And I will probably show you another one in just a moment around the bed. I'm going to move over to one other plant that I want to show you, and I'm going to have to get real close to the ground. And this is another ginger. As I come down to this, can you see the red down in there? It's getting sort of dark. That is a pine cone lily. It's another ginger, and there have been a number of these in this bed. I have cut a lot of them out to take to the house. Let me show you another one in here. Perhaps that one is a little bit closer so that you can see it. It sort of looks like a pine cone. They come up green and they gradually turn red as they age. That is really not the flowers. The little flowers come up little teeny blue things inside those brackets. And so this whole thing is a bracket, and the flower itself is blue. But these pine cone lilies, they call it a bitter ginger. And here's the foliage, gorgeous tropical looking foliage. And it too will die when the frost hits and the winter comes, and we will not have it. These come from rhizomes that grow right beneath the surface of the garden. They're easy to separate. They're easy to plunk away, and anything that grows from rhizomes usually all you have to have is a piece of the rhizome, not a whole big long one, and they will grow. Same thing with the ginger. You realize that you can buy the ginger in the store and go home and plant it and have you grow your own ginger as well. These plants are native to India and again the Asian continent. They need water. They will grow in a drier place. I have some around my well, but they do not bloom like these do because these, again, this is my daily bed and they get irrigation a couple, 3 times a week. Here is another of those Firespike plants. It's not doing really well here. It's sort of crowded out by these other plants. The other thing I want to share you with is this yellow one right here. And this is another salvia / sage. Hard to get out this afternoon. You see the blooms, and this doesn't bloom till this time of the year as well. Many of the sages, salvias, will bloom all through the year or bloom early in the year. This one does not bloom until middle of October, late October. And then it lasts for 2 or 3 weeks until we have some cold or frost and it is gone. It as a, if I said ginger, I'm incorrect. It's a sage, and it's like all the sages, and this is a perennial. It dies back and comes back every spring. You know, there's a lot of the salvias that are annuals. You buy the little red ones and the purple ones and the white ones in the garden shop, and then they die that year and they're gone. These are perennial and they will continue to come back. And again, this one is flourishing because it is getting plenty of water. I've shown you several different flowers this afternoon. All the plants are very different, yet very distinct and very beautiful. More of God's great diversity and beauty. I did some reading the other day about the unusual blooms of some of the salvia sages. I've swapped pollen on daylilies for several decades, and daylily pistil and stamen stand out several inches from the flower, and they're very easy to pollinate. But what I was reading about some of the salvia sages flowers is that they're pretty unique in the sense that they have a little mechanism, almost like a mechanical mechanism that opens and closes to allow or to hinder certain insects from coming in and pollinating. The more I read and the more I understand and the more I deal with flowers, I have a hard time contemplating or even contemplating the concept of evolution. Because all of this reminds me that we've got a creator that has created so many different unique things, that how could these just happen into the universe, into our earth? I believe everything that we find in Genesis 1:31 that says, and God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. Have a good day. God bless.